to Pest Control. Marketer, grow your business like never before. Call 770-993-0004.
Well, hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of Pest Control Marketing.live, the only live streaming internet TV show totally dedicated to you, the PCOs and WCOs of this land. We're here to help you grow your business, get more new customers, make more money, and be more successful. And I'm here once again with my cohort, my partner in crime, my trusty sidekick, friend, and mentor, the one and only Mike Stewart. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm just glad to be here, enjoying being able to do the one thing that we know is safe. And, you know, I'll tell you what, I don't know how you feel, but if you're watching, I'm about ready for these things to go away.
Oh, I thought you were about to put that on while we were talking to each other.
Well, for folks on the podcast, there you go.
Oh, boy. Yeah, and that's the way oh, boy, take it off. Yeah.
No,
I'm ready for
I'm not making light of that. And folks on the podcast, I put on my COVID mask. You know, I don't go, you know, at my age, Hal, I don't go out a lot. But, you know, because of the internet, because of being comfortable with streaming technologies, you know, we've had, and we can talk about 2020, and maybe I know you got a great subject you want to talk about today to make 2021 a better year. But I'll tell you what, we came into this year with all kinds of expectations, and then the next thing you know, what we expected got completely turned upside down. And it's a new world. It's a new way of doing things. It's a new way of doing business. But there's a lot of old things that really still work real well. And I think that's a good way to segue into what you wanted to talk about today.
Oh, yeah, it is. And right now, what I want to talk about is a little bit stressful right now, and that is networking. You know, that's always been my all-time favorite way to get new business when I owned my pest control business, was networking in my community through networking groups such as BNI, PowerCore, independent networking groups that I was involved in, Chamber of Commerce business networking groups, and coffees and golf and everything else. I was always out there trying to make connections. And that's what I want to talk about today, Mike, because on one of my Facebook groups, some guy made a comment. He said, you know, all of this internet stuff and virtual and clicking with your thumbs and texting and everything else. And he said, it's great. But he said, I like to get out there and meet people face to face and shake hands with them and sit down across from them and talk and build relationships. And he said, I'm struggling with that right now. And I know a lot of people are. And this is a temporary struggle, because we will come back to the days when we're freely out there meeting people and making contacts with them. So I want to talk about that a little bit today, networking in your community, and share some stories and some tips and strategies that will be helpful to you when we're able to do that again. And you can apply most of them, to virtual networking too, which I know you'll probably talk about, Mike, because you're really involved in that more than I am. But I want to start off with, you know, we have a segment where we talk about stupid marketing blunders. And today I'm going to bend that a little bit, and we're going to talk about stupid networking blunders, okay? And the one that came to mind to me was, now, to start with, networking is all about meeting people, and it's not really about selling as much as it is helping other people and doing what you can to build those relationships. And what came to mind, it kind of brought a chuckle to my face when I thought about it, and I remembered it. And this has been back when I had my pest control company. This has probably been 16, 17, maybe 18 years ago. I was at a network meeting with the Chamber of Commerce, and this guy came over to me, introduced himself to me. He was a real estate agent, and he said, hey, you're the marketing, you do a lot of marketing stuff, don't you? And I said, yeah, I do. And he said, well, somebody told me that you're like a marketing guru. And he said, I just built a new website for my real estate. And he said, I wondered if you'd mind taking a look at it and giving me your opinion and see if you have any tips for me or any suggestions. I said, yeah, I'll be happy to. So he gave me his web address, and I said, tonight I'll take a look at it and I'll make some notes. And I said, why don't I'll call you. So I went home, I looked at his website, and there were some things on there that weren't exactly right, that weren't going to help him get new customers. So I made some notes, wrote some things down, and I emailed him, and I said, I've spent some time on your website, made some notes, and I said, why don't we meet for coffee tomorrow morning? Can you do that? And he said, yes. And there was a little similar to a Starbucks, a little coffee bagel shop up in Alpharetta, and he suggested we meet there. I said, okay. So we met there. When I arrived, he was already there, and he had his laptop computer set up on the table that he had gotten for us. So he got up and came over, and we got in line to get coffee. So he got coffee and a bagel or something, and I got a bagel and a coffee, and I stepped up there to pay for mine, and that lady said, that gentleman over there has already paid for yours. I said, oh, cool, great. So I walked over there to the table, and I said, she told me that you'd paid for mine. I didn't intend for you to do that. Thanks. And the guy said, well, just give me about $3. He said, that'll square us up. I said, okay. I pulled my wallet out and gave the guy $3, and then sat down and proceeded to spend more time with him, helping him with his website. And I left there thinking, I spent time the night before working on it. I'd spend time there with him, and the guy made me reimburse him for my cup of coffee and my bagel. Stupid networking blunder. Needless to say, that told me right then and there, this guy doesn't get what networking is all about. Not at all. So, kind of avoided that guy after that because I realized he was clueless. He was clueless about what networking was all about, and it was all about him. And so that's my stupid networking blunder, is make it all about the other person. If you want to build a relationship, do whatever you can to build that relationship and do things for them. Buy their coffee, buy their lunch. Initiate that law of reciprocity where they feel appreciative of you. They feel like they owe you something now. Keep it going. But making me reimburse him for my coffee while I was helping him didn't go over well with me. So those are the ones I call not networking ninjas, but networking nincompoops. He was a networking nincompoop.
Well, a lot of times people think networking, and I got to tell folks here on the podcast and live stream, I guess it's been maybe 20 years ago, Hal. I don't remember how long ago it was, but you've been an avid networker, ever since I've known you in your business. And I was starting my web design business in 99. So there it is. It's been 21 years ago. And I said, I really need to get some local business owners to consider doing web business with me, because my previous business was working with ad agencies and doing music and jingles and stuff. And so it was not something that everybody needed. So the pathway to networking for me back in those days was going to places to make relationships with ad agency decision makers. But when I got into the internet, any small business, especially in 1999, didn't have a website. And I'll tell you what, it was really magical when you told me about networking. In fact, the very first networking meeting breakfast that I ever went to was your meeting over there in Alpharetta.
My friend's place.
My friend's place, and you talk about so nervous, so scared, so like, what are these people doing? How does this work? Everybody's sitting around eating breakfast around a little meat. I remember it was like a horseshoe like setting of a table. Everybody was sitting around the edges of the horseshoe, and then everybody got up and said something. And first time I ever heard the term elevator speech. I mean, it was like so foreign to me. And I can't believe I'd been in business for many years and didn't know these strategies. So, at any rate, that was a big aha moment day for me. In fact, I joined, the reason I didn't keep coming to your group, and by the way, I got business and that's kind of going to get around to what I'm talking about today. It kind of broke the rule of networking groups. I got a customer that first meeting that was a member of the group. You don't go to groups to get the other group members to do business with you. You're building relationships of trust in the group to get referrals for your expertise.
Right. So, yes.
And I thought, well, I learned later, don't sell to the group. So, at any rate, after that happened, I said, oh my gosh, what a great way to get business. I joined a group over near my house. Anybody that knows about Atlanta, you were like almost 35 miles from where I lived. And during rush hour traffic, that was a trek. And I just said, there's got to be. Well, I found a meeting 20 minutes from my house, and I got involved with that group. And then I would go to chamber after hour networking groups. They would have meetings where you'd stand around and you meet people. And the blunder I had is I had a fellow that I was working with, and I said, we could cover more ground if you went to meetings I didn't go to. I said, it's kind of dumb for the two of us go to the same meeting unless we, break apart. And the blunder was, he came back and he said, I went to that meeting and there was two other people that do what we do. There was so much competition there. There was no way to get any business there. And I said, what do you mean there's too much competition? You mean there was one other company that did what we did? I said, make friends with them. Maybe there's things that, they don't do audio and they don't do video. I mean, maybe there's a way that we can complement one another. I said, the only way you're going to find that out is make friends. I just think networking is a waste of time. So to me, the blunder was having a mindset that you're going there to find customers. You're not going there to find customers. You're going there to build relationships, a referral network. And I can tell you, the referral networks I built in Georgia years ago are still bringing business to me to this day. And I hadn't lived in Georgia in 4 years. And I'll get a call. I don't get as much as I did when you're active there. But the minute I got to Nashville, I got involved with a networking group. And I want to talk about it when we talk about the virtual opportunities that you can do today. And, in spite of the fact that most of the networking groups, just like many other things, are hesitant to meet in person at restaurants like we did. So anyway, That's my blunder, thinking that you're going there to find customers. You're going there to build relationships of referrals. In fact, another pest control company could be a wildlife referral for you, something to that effect. Well, we don't do wildlife. So get my buddy Hal Coleman to do your wildlife, and don't be scared of competition. Think of cooperation.
Yeah. When I was involved with the Chamber of Commerce for all those years, I actually, I'll give you an example. When I was president of the Georgia Pest Control Association, I went through the chairs, secretary, treasurer, vice president, president, and chairman of the board. That was a 4-year tour for me. I mean, that was rough being a small company because it required so much effort and so much travel and so much time. Went to like 11 conferences in 1 year, the year I was president, if that tells you anything. And it's like, gee whiz. So when I came back after my year as chairman of the board was over with, I come back to my pest control company, and I got about 10 employees, and who had gotten kind of out of control since I wasn't so hands-on for those 4 years. And I said, well, okay, I got to get back. I got to get my business organized. what am I going to do to get back on track and market my business this year? And I said, I had been really involved with the Chamber of Commerce years before, but during that 4 years, I hadn't been to any meetings or anything, totally had abandoned the Chamber of Commerce. So I said, I'm going to get back involved with the Chamber of Commerce. They had a networking meeting called the Alliance Group that met every other Wednesday morning from 7:30 to 9. It was a networking group, and they'd have anywhere from 30 to 50 people there. You know, and you stand up and you give your little 30-second elevator speech, and then you give out cards, and you know how that works. So I said, I'm going to get back involved with the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm going to give it a good year to get reestablished in the Alliance Group. So I went back in the Alliance Group, and there was hardly anybody there I knew, maybe a little handful of people. Most of them were total strangers. So I got back involved in that group and started going to those meetings. And I tracked it, Mike, that over the course of 12 months, I got 22 new customers that directly came to me through that group. They weren't all members of the group doing business with me, but people they had referred me to. But I got 22 new customers during that year from attending that group. Now, as the lifetime value of a customer is on average is 10, they stay with you for 10 years and spend $5,000 to $6,000 with you. So that was really about $55,000 worth of business that came to me in that year out of that one networking group. So, but the key, and every year the Chamber of Commerce had a big expo up in Alpharetta, the big hotel up there, and it was an all-day business expo. Thousands of people came to it, and they had breakout sessions going during the expo, and then the expo, you know, probably 200 vendors in there. And for years, they would get me to do the opening welcoming speech to all the vendors before they opened the show, before they opened the doors to the public. They get all the vendors in there, and they'd have me give them a little pep talk. And one of the things I would do is I would say, all right, I'd welcome everybody, and I would say, now raise your hand if you're here to sell something today. And, you know, a lot of them would raise their hands. And I'd say, now raise your hands if you're here to meet people and build relationships. And other people would raise their hand. I said, well, you people need to go talk to those people who just raised their hands earlier and said they're here to sell something. And everybody would laugh. I said, because you're not here to sell. You're here to build relationships. You're not going to sell anything here today, probably, but you can build relationships with the people next to you and the other people in this room. And you can really, really secure a lot of future business and referrals by building relationships. And the magic words in networking, when you're in a group, I don't care if it's a big group or small group, you know, you go to the group, you meet people, you invite them out for coffee. I'd like to buy you a cup of coffee and find out more about you and your business and how I might be able to help you. I never had anybody ever respond back and say, no, don't like coffee and I don't need any help, you know. And so you meet somebody for coffee and you invite them and you sit down and you ask them about their business. And then you say, ultimately, the magic words are like, so what can I do to help you? And it's almost jaw dropping. They're like, here's this stranger saying, what can I do to help you? And you really build some great relationships. And I've got a lady that referred me for 20 years. Almost until I sold my business. I don't remember her last name. Her first name was Janine. She was in that group you talked about for a very short period of time, but she started referring pets. She cleaned houses, and she referred me over a 15 or 20 year period. She probably referred me a dozen great customers. And the funny thing is, she used another pest control company. She didn't use my services because she already had a pest control company when we met, and she was happy with them. And I said, fine, but she liked me, and we built a relationship, and she referred me all the time. She didn't refer the people that she did business with. Funny how that works. But good old Janine, I don't know where she is, and haven't seen her in many years, but she sure did send me a lot of business just through networking.
Well, I think the recap here is networking is the process of building referral partners and building relationships, and not having expectation of getting business from those referral partners. As your example with the lady who cleaned houses, she was happy with who she was doing business with, but that person she was doing business with didn't build the relationship of referrals with her. So therefore, she had a trust level. So it's that trust level. And I can't believe it. We're at 20 minutes in. We need to talk about some things. First of all, I'm going to show a web address that I'm going to say verbally here, how to grow a pest control business. One of the things that we do to build relationships is Hal and I give away a lot of information. Have you, for the people watching the show, can you pull up there and let us see that wonderful book you wrote called How to Grow a Pest Control Business, Hal?
My God, right. It just happened to be right here, Mike.
Well, there you go.
How to grow a pest control business.
Right. No expectations. We've actually had people say
a lot of good testimonials on the back.
Right. We've had a lot of people get that book absolutely free. Well, here's why we want you to get that book. That is a online networking tool, if you think about it, because we can't go to meetings. And in fact, Hal, I got to show you this. I'm looking at the comments, and this gentleman here, Pharaoh Pest Control, said he just joined Pest Control Marketing Gold, and it's great. Thanks, guys.
Great, thanks.
That's the whole point of networking any way you can. And of course, what that gentleman is talking about, we have a group coaching program, and this is our sponsorship right now, pestcontrolmarketinggold.com. There's an opportunity when you get the book to learn more about Pest Control Marketing Gold. If not, go to pestcontrolmarketinggold.com. And more importantly, we have an annual event that we want to tell you about that has just taken things to the next level. It's called nextlevelpcomarketing.com. So if you can remember, Next Level Pest Control Operator, PCO, we don't spell all that out, nextlevelpcomarketing.com. Guess what? This year, normally we do this event live in Atlanta. Well, not going to do it this year because we don't want people getting on airplanes. We don't want people coming to hotels. Good chance they probably wouldn't this year for fear of getting sick. So we're going, because we are comfortable with doing virtual events. This is going to be a virtual event, February 13th, 2021. And then, of course, people who get it will, if they can't, even if they can't come live, they'll be able to listen to it and watch it on demand. The other thing I want to tell you about, there is pestcontrolmarketer.com. That is a library of great free information, and Hal's phone number. If you want to do an hour free consult with Hal to find out if he's a good fit for you, call him at 770-993-0004. 770-993-0004. Call Hal Coleman. Hey, if you picked up your phone and dialed it right now, it'd probably ring on the show, wouldn't it, Hal?
It would. It would.
And of course, I do the exact same thing when it comes to online strategies. I'm MikeStewart.live. I have a TV show myself. People talking about online audio and video. It comes on. I do it live an hour and a half after this show. It's MikeStewart.live. So love for you to go over there. Today we're going to be talking about microphones and internet audio and podcasting. Going to have a fun show demonstrating how easy anybody. In fact, we've got more PCOs that own microphones than I can shake a stick at. You know, they didn't know they needed a microphone. Well, yeah, you do need a microphone to do a bunch of things that you want to do. So anyway, those are our sponsors. There'll be links here on the website, and we'll hope you check it out. Give us a call. I'm 770-826-3662. And of course, if you're interested in Hal's coaching or my coaching, just call us. But, you know, most importantly, download the book, check out all the resources, And that is our sponsorship for today. Now, I wanted to talk about a little something about networking that I've been doing, and I'm going to share it with you here. There are lots of networking groups, and I'm not going to name the ones, but I've been involved with a lot of different networking groups over the year, and I know you, Hal, and you've been involved with Chamber of Commerce's. Well, most of those networking groups, are having challenges now that, people, I don't know when people are going to feel comfortable meeting, in closed quarters. Some of them try to do it social distancing. And then, of course, at this point in time, it's December 2020. COVID is on the rise. And so people my age especially are very nervous about getting in a small confined area, even with people with masks on. Why do it when I don't need to? Well, this is my networking group. There's more of them are doing Zoom meetings, but these guys have really put together a great way to do it. It's Networking Today International. The web address, and in fact, what I love about it, Hal, is you can visit the 60 locations virtually all over the country. I've been doing that, and so the plus side of it is, instead of being in a physical room, I'm here with my coffee, and I got all the little, I call it the Hollywood squares. I got everybody's face there, and we just conduct the same thing we used to do in person with our own coffee, and we do virtual coffees through Zoom or whatever technology we want to. And I have been building relationships, the same process, using this particular company. And what I like about this one is some of the other networking organizations, once a pest control guy gets in there, nobody else can have that slot. Well, they kind of gotten rid of that here at Networking Today International. They invite competitors because they realize that competitors can be referral partners. So you could go into a meeting and have 3 real estate agents. Well, you know what? For a pest control guy, 3 real estate agents could be great referral partners for you. And of course, if you've got something you can sell all over the country, then, and that's what's good in my case, web design, I can sell all over the country. But if you're a local business, you can start one of these. They're really growing all over the country. So if your local area doesn't have one, then you could start one of these meetings. They've really built a huge. So anyway, I invite you to check it out. And if you have any questions, you can call me. I'd love to help you understand how to do it. But it's one of the cheapest groups out there that I found.
And listen, starting one, I'll assure you, there are no PCOs in this country doing this locally. And if you started one in your community, and while everybody else is at home and staying out of the live networking groups, and you've got your networking group meeting virtually, all your local people there, you're going to be doing something that your competitors are not doing. Everybody might be doing this at some point in the future, but you can always be one of the first or one of the last. But it's a whole lot more profitable to be one of the first to do something.
Right.
This applies locally. If you're already in a networking group and you're just on hold, why not do this and resume your meetings on Hollywood Squares format? And we have one of our clients who started a networking group probably a year and a half or 2 years ago now, but they didn't have a BNI chapter in his town, and I said, start a group. So he did, and they were meeting at a restaurant, and he got about a dozen loyal members now, and they meet twice a month, and it's turning into business. And so if you don't have a group in your community, start a group, give it a good name. I started the group that you came to, Mike. The name of that group was North Fulton Business Resources Group. That's what we named that group, North Fulton Business Resources Group. And then I went out and told my clients, if I was bidding on a job, I would say, make sure that, and I knew they were going to get other bids. I'd say, make sure whoever you're dealing with is in good standing with the Georgia Pest Control Association, and make sure that they're members of the North Fulton Business Resources Group. I said, that's a group of the top quality businesses in this area. Well, I knew that they weren't going to be a member of it because I was the only pest control company in there. So somebody else asked my competitor, are you a member of the North Fulton Business Resources Group? No, never heard of it. So I used it as a marketing tool to ask them if they're a member of the group. But
Right.
North Fulton Business Resources Group, it was a great name for a group, and it had I found it ways to leverage that name with my competition. So start a group, give it a good name, and use it and leverage it.
Well, if you're starting a local group, it's so easy with a Zoom account. People are so comfortable with Zoom now that you can meet regularly for coffee, and you can have virtual coffees with people and build those referral partners. And, we're using a technology here called StreamYard. StreamYard is a pretty innovative webcam streaming television program. And there's a real estate agent in my networking group. I thought this was brilliant for networking. She bought a StreamYard account, and she interviews other businesses locally. Just like we interview people. And what happens is then those people that she interviews, in fact, she's interviewing me 2 weeks from today because she shares me with her community. And then the other people want to share themselves with their community. Hey, I was on this TV show. And what happens is that gets her shared with their community. So, she's one of the only real estate agents that does a regularly scheduled live streaming show. You can do this as a pest control agency. So it's
absolutely. Yeah.
So at any rate, networking equals referral partner relationships. It does not equal sell to the other members of the group.
But the byproduct of all of that is a lot of selling.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're not selling to them; they just start buying from you. That's the way it happens.
Well, you're building that know, like, and trust factor from a low pressure standpoint, and you establish yourself as the authority. And people want to do business with somebody they perceive and know as the authority of what they do. Well, Hal's the best. He's a member of that group. That's who I'm going to get to take care of my problem. And that's why, any final things about networking? We got a couple of questions here.
I do. Let me get one final thing. Networking is not always just about groups. It's just finding people that you want to get to know and going out, seeking them out and introducing yourself. Now, you and I had a client back several years ago, and he was over in a small town in middle Georgia, and I was talking to him. I said, so here's some ways to get customers that don't cost you anything. Because he had a very, very limited budget. He was a one-man operator. He was kind of shy. And I said, do you know the mayor in your town? He said, well, I know his name, but I don't know him. I said, well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to call his office, and I want you to set up, tell whoever that you want to just come by and introduce yourself to the mayor, that you're a small business owner in the town and that you're interested in promoting small business, and you want to just meet the mayor and let him know that you're involved in a small business. And I said, I would be surprised if he won't meet with you. So he said, you can call up and introduce myself and ask to see the mayor? I said, yeah, do that. So he did. Talked to him the next week. He said, yeah, I called and told him I was a small business owner and I would like to just introduce myself to the mayor. And they set up a meeting. I came by, introduced myself to the mayor and told him about my little company and that I would, anything I could do to help him. And he said, the mayor had these 2 rental properties and he sent me out there to look at them because they had problems with carpenter bees. And he said, I went out there and he said, I sold him a pest control account on both of his rental properties. So now he's my customer. I said, well, there you go. Now the mayor's your customer. Now you think the mayor doesn't know tons of people in the community and he's your client now. Anything comes up, anybody's got any pest control, oh, call my guy. He's a good guy. So, you can that can lead to business, just meeting people in the community. Call, introduce yourself. So I just want to come by and meet you and let you know, what can I do to help? If there's ever anything I can do to help you. That's what he told the mayor, and ended up, the mayor became his client right there on the spot. So it doesn't have to be group settings. You can do networking one-on-one, one at a time.
Well, we got one now. We're inviting some more questions, but Pharaoh Pest Control has a question here, Hal, that kind of goes with both of us, and it's not about networking, but the electronic website stuff. He says, on my landing pages, would you recommend having a get quote now button or a direct call button? And I have an opinion on that, but why don't you go first with that?
Well, I do too. Excuse me. The direct call button, I'm all for 100%. But the get a quote now button, it depends. Is that quote going to be from a live individual, or is it just going to be a posted quote? Because I'm not a big proponent of putting your prices on your website without having the opportunity to speak to somebody. Because what happens is, if you put your price on there and then somebody sees the price and they think that price is too high, so then you never get the opportunity to have a conversation with them because they never go further. So I always want to have a conversation, because my pest control business in the latter years became the most expensive pest control company in Atlanta that I know of. I was more expensive than Orkin or Terminex or anybody. And my business grew in double digits because I was able to communicate my value to people before I gave them the price. If I'd have just posted my prices on my website, I'd have lost tons of business because I was an expensive company. So I'm not a big proponent of putting your prices in front of people before you have the opportunity to have a conversation with them. If that's helpful, I hope it's helpful to you.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I don't know the name here. I hope it's Mr. Pharaoh, but I'm going to tell you what I think, and I'm going to show you what I think. Especially, this is one of our new customers here. You got to remember, 90% of the world sees your website on a cell phone. 90% of the local business searches are not looking on computers. And we have here Hal's tried and true headline: need a pest control you can trust to do the job right. And this is pure Hal Coleman. You will get the absolute best, most thorough pest control service you've ever seen. I guarantee it, or it's free. And you can talk about that a little bit more. You see, there's no prices, but I'll tell you, see at the bottom of that page, it says tap here to call, and we personalize it. The gentleman that is the president and owns his company, his name is C. Ron. And in fact, that's his elevator speech video right there that you can tap. There's a little black click play arrow pointing to the play button. We're doing everything we can to get people to watch that video, know, like, and trust this man, and call him. And that's, in my opinion, is the landing page sweet spot.
Yeah, the mistake people make with their landing pages, with their websites, and their presentations, oral, written, on their brochures, their flyers, their door hangers, their postcards, their business cards, their conversations. The one big thing that people leave out is the bold, bold promise. This is what I promise you are going to get if you do business with me. And people don't care what the name of your company is. They don't care what your phone number is. They really don't care how long you've been in business. They care about what you can do for them. They want something from you. And the best thing you can do is know what they want and then promise to give it to them. And promise, if you don't get it from me, you don't have to pay. That's my big thing is bold guarantee. The bigger, the bolder, the stronger, the longer, the better, and the more business you're going to sell. So you do business with me, you're going to be 100% happy, or you're not going to have to pay a penny. As a matter of fact, if you're not happy at the end of 30 days, I'll retreat your home for free and keep treating it for free until you tell me you're happy. And if that still doesn't make you happy, I'll give you back every penny you spent for the original treatment, and I'll even pay you an additional $25 just for your time and trouble. That's how serious I am. See, making those bold promises like Ciron there, you'll get the absolute best, most thorough pest control service you've ever seen. I guarantee it, or it's free. That's what speaks to people. That's what makes people call you. They don't call you because your website had a picture of a waterfall on it, or a pretty house, or a slider, or they don't. It's all about the bold promise, the unique selling proposition. Here's what you're going to get from me.
I like the way you look. I guarantee it.
You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it. What is it when people buy? That's a prime example of a bold promise. What is it that people do when they buy? Why do they go buy a particular clothing item? Yeah. And women tend to know whether they look good or not. They're more in tune to it. Men go and buy a clothing item. They don't know whether they look good in it or not. They worry about that a little bit. George Zimmer knew that. So he's talking to Men's Warehouse. So you're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it. And they're like, they trust that. That's the president of the company telling them. So I guarantee it. I'm going to like the way I look. That's all I ask for,
Well, Jeff Foxworthy said he went into the bathroom and he said, how's this, baby? And she said, you're not wearing that. No, baby, I'm wearing this till you get dressed. Because we don't know. Well, you know what? We have been having a great networking episode this morning, but from the look at the clock here, I think it's probably high time we wound it up here. So you got any final comments?
Yeah, I do. Folks, go check out Pest Control Marketing Gold, our new group coaching membership site. There's a ton of valuable training there. I can't even recall it all. You go to it and you'll see the list of everything that is in that site that you can plunge in there and start going through it, learning. We'll be having regular group coaching meetings for the members of this site, Q&A. You'll have access to Mike and I to help you through anything that you need help, that you don't understand or have questions about. If you're serious about growing your business and you'd like to work with Mike and myself, but you're not ready to plunge into a one-on-one coaching, you're not ready to make that time commitment or that financial commitment yet, but you would like to have access to us and work with us, check out Pest Control Marketing Gold. It's less than $100 I forget how much.
It's $47 a month.
$47 a month. It's less than Starbucks for a month. Okay, and you're going to get
your money back to be able to buy a lot of Starbucks.
You'll be overwhelmed with the amount of resources that you have in Pest Control Marketing Gold. And if at any time, if you get in it, at any time you say, I've got all I need, I'm tired of this, or it's not working for me, you can cancel at any time. So, and also our event in February, the Next Level PCO marketing workshop, is going to be an all-day affair with Mike and myself. We're going to be really sharing some great presentations with you, great strategies, tips, and techniques to help you grow your business that you can go right out and use. These are not things we just come up with out of the air. These are the strategies that our successful clients are using every day to make the phone ring and to get people to swipe those credit cards and become their clients. So check that out. That's the one I was saying is less than $100. Now when we've done this in the past, it's been $997 come to the 2-day affair, which is live. Plus you got to travel on a plane. Most people did. And we had people come from as far away as New Zealand to attend it. And we had, you had to get a hotel room and everything else. This one, you're going to be able to sit there in your T-shirt and your underwear if you want to, and attend the whole day. And I'm busy now putting together my presentations for it. Going to share some absolutely dynamite strategies with you. And Mike, I know you're going to do the same thing. So go there, check it out, get your seat now, and just plan on being with us that day. That's going to be the February 13th, the day after the weekend after the Super Bowl. So football will be over with. And it's the day before Valentine's Day. And just, I think you said, Mike, give that to your wife as a gift, or your spouse. Learn how to make a lot more money so you can buy a lot more roses for Valentine's Day.
Jewelry.
Yeah, jewelry. Yeah, absolutely. And fishing rods. And so that about wraps it up for me, Mike. And I've enjoyed it as always. And folks, appreciate you joining us and being a follower of Pest Control Marketing.live, and we'll see you next time.
Hal Coleman has been active in the pest control industry for over 40 years, including owning and operating his own successful pest control business for 18 years. He now devotes his time to helping other PCOs and other WCOs double, triple, and even quadruple their businesses faster than they ever imagined. Be sure to check out his website, pestcontrolmarketer.com. For more information about Hal's coaching program, you can reach him at 770-993-0004 or email him hal@halcoleman.com. Mike Stewart is known as the Internet audio and video guy. Since the birth of the Internet, Mike has been showing small business owners how to get more new customers, increase their sales, and grow their businesses online using audio and video, now with iPhones and Android phones. For more information about Mike's coaching program and his online training courses, visit MikeStewartCoaching.com or email him mike@internetaudioguide.com.
Google Pest Control Marketer. Grow your business like never before. Call 770-993-0004.